Welcome to Business Talk, presented in collaboration with the University of Rio Grande and the Ohio State University South Centers, from the heart of southeastern Ohio at the University of Rio Grande TV studio. Our goals are simple: promote the University of Rio Grande and the Ohio State University South Centers, as well as advocate local small business and their support organizations. More importantly, promote southeastern Ohio as a wonderful place to live, explore, and learn. There are many different ways you can find us. The University of Rio Grande Cable Access Channel 17, live online at blogtalkradio.com, and on YouTube if you are unable to catch our show live. Introducing our co-hosts, Jason Winters, Mike Thompson, Patrick Dengel. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoy the show.
Finally have someone that knows a lot about animals and human beings and people. We have a distinguished guest who has had a very good career working with helping individuals overcome some of their problems. A noted psychologist down in Portsmouth, Ohio, Dr.
You can
Tom.
vouch for me, can't you,
Yes,
Pat?
yes, I can.
So have you helped Wanda quite a bit with her problem?
No, some things are too tough.
Yeah. But the
help
nice
Pat
thing is,
cope.
whenever
that's
I
not
would
true.
leave Tom's place,
Sorry.
he would be shaking. I think that was great. But anyway, Tom Heiskell is eventually going to be retiring from his practice of helping other individuals. And one of the areas that he's getting involved in is dog training and helping we humans better understand how our dogs are very, very important to us and how they can be our bestest of friends. And I know, Jason, that you have several dogs, Pyrenees, is that correct?
Great Pyrenees.
Great Pyrenees. And I know Mike has several kinds of dogs, etc.
Bernese mountain dogs. 100 and 140 pounds, he said.
Wow.
And that's right where the Pyrenees are at as well.
Okay, good sized guys. My dog's about half that. He's 72 pounds. But, yeah, a stout 72 pounds.
See, my son has a little Chihuahua, or a real little dog, and
Yeah.
so
I like
But you know,
those
Pat,
too.
it really doesn't matter the size of the animal. They all affect your heart the exact same way.
that is true. That is true. And
That's
so,
true.
well, welcome, Tom. It's a
Thank you.
pleasure having you on our show.
Well, it's a pleasure being here.
And how about telling us a little bit about who you are and what got you involved, and just about yourself.
Okay. Well, anyway, I've been a clinical psychologist over 30 years. Got my PhD from Purdue University. Always had dogs. Knew I was going to retire at some point. The dog that I have now had been in a shelter for 2 years and barrier guarded. And I almost got adopted twice and then decided to woof those folks away, and he and I clicked. So we've learned a lot from each other.
So what kind of dog do you have?
Boxer, Beagle, Hound, Mutt. Yeah.
The perfect kind.
The perfect kind, yeah. And so, anyway, when I got him, I'd promised that when I was voluntary, our other dog died, and I thought, well, I'll volunteer to shelter and, keep that connection, but I'm not going to bring home another dog. And if I do, I'm going to bring home a small one, So I did bring home a dog without asking my wife. It was a big dog. Yeah, all right, anyway, that's its own story. I've always enjoyed animals, and the same kinds of principles that apply to people and how they learn and how they feel apply to dogs, animals of that kind of group without the words. So there we are. And some of the same interventions that you do to cope with fear, aggression, teaching and so forth, you do with dogs, and for the same neurophysiological reasons. So I did some actual trauma work with my dog, who did, if you'd call it post-traumatic stress disorder, but he had, you know, brought a lot of issues with him and was reactive to whole bunches of things. And, you know, we're not completely on the other side of that, but it's all very manageable at this point. And so,
Well, I know that we use dogs for a variety of different things. One of them is companionship. Another one is sort of a work setting, you know, helping those that are blind to lead the blind safely. Another one is what, Jason? You have your dogs to help
guard
with your farm.
livestock.
Ours are they're guard dogs
Yeah.
for family as well as the herd of goats. So
Yeah.
we have some that stay in the field all the time, but we also have some in the yard that protect the house. Very good watchdogs, let you know when someone else is around.
Sure.
And when you live out in the country nowadays, that's quite
helpful.
important. Yeah.
Yeah. And you brought up the different things that dogs can do, and the school that I went to for training specifically, because, you know, I knew kind of what average dog owners knew, was the Pryor Academy. It was called for animal training because, anyway, it's marker training, reward-based training. It's the kind of training that is now adopted by seeing eye dog training institutes, because they get dogs that learn skills more quickly. They get a higher percentage of dogs passing. They have dogs that are thinking for themselves more confidently, which is helpful in that kind of situation. Marker training is also used in zoos to get rhinoceroses to come up and place their front end someplace so their rear end can get a shot, and you don't have to physically maneuver the animal or sedate the animal.
That's
It's really always has revolutionized training, or, you know, animal management there. And this is the kind of training that's used to get dolphins. You know, these two dolphins come out and do 2 backflips. This one comes out and does a swirl in the air, and they all do it at the same time. It's that kind of training. So it's all done with reward markers and so forth. So it's very
reward markers.
Yeah, a marker is technically a condition reinforcer. And so that is, yes, good dog, click, you know, whatever. And that signifies to the animal, hey, what you did just results in a reward, and it's going to be on its way as soon as I can deliver it to you practically.
So it's a form of operant conditioning theory.
It's operant conditioning. And you know, I think dogs and other creatures are thinking animals, thinking creatures, but operant conditioning. What's the behavior? You mark that, you provide a reward. The animal is who or what decides what's rewarding for it. That changes. Sometimes it's food, maybe it's they love their ball, or they love to tug, maybe they're affection based, or some combination of all those kinds of things. It's a very effective, efficient training. It is the kind of training where, I mean, we really have at our disposal everything the dogs need to survive. So we control everything in their environment, and by judicious use of all those resources, and that can include dogs working for, here's your breakfast, but I'd like to see a sit, then I'd like to see a down, thank you very much, and, you know, show me a shake and so forth. You have, you know, an approach you can. If a dog needs particular structure, nothing is life is free. You know, if you're out there, you know, wandering around, you're going to be earning your living, and part of the way you earn your living with me is we learn some things from each other, and you show me some things. So it's positive. It is,
Well, you
but it's
you
not
brought
permissive.
you brought
and
a
it's
video.
effective. I did.
And maybe we can get.
Get to that, yeah. This is about loose leash walking. One of the things we often see is that people are being tugged by their dogs, and that's one of the normal canine behaviors that can limit dogs' lives. So, when dogs can be shown how to walk along with you, and everybody's enjoying the walk instead of, you know, feeling like they can't do that because it's icy or it's dangerous because they're not able to hold their ground. You know, they might get pulled over, or the dog might pull them into the road because they see a squirrel on the other side of the road. Anyway, this is a way of training that, and so dogs have better quality of life. And I approach training from the point of view of marker training, positive training, without having to resort really to punishment. But the biggest tragedy is a dog who fails to get some type of training that it allows to live and stay in its home. That's the biggest tragedy of all. So there are a lot of roads to Rome. We want to watch this.
We'll talk about that
Yeah,
because I think that's very, very important. Mike?
Loose leash walking, teaching your dog with connect the dots and red light, green light. Welcome to Positive Experiences Training at 731 5th Street in Portsmouth, 740-357-4206. This is self-explanatory. Here's the entrance to the training area. Home is where the dog is. There are 4 training pods in the back that can be removed, but they have gates and a tether. There's an open area also for practicing moving behaviors, and a divider to let one dog work on each side and one on the other when that's needed. Show your dog loose leash walking by connecting the dots. Put down cones about a step apart. With your dog at your left side, at or behind your left leg, click and treat. Before your dog has finished eating, take another step. Reach down and click and treat before they reach your left leg. Repeat. I've removed a few cones. The cones give me a target and a goal to work at. When your dog gets the behavior, then add the cue, let's go. Starting teaching a 10-week-old puppy with loose leash walking, connect the dots.
Down treat, good. Down treat, good. Down treat, block him, good. Down treat, block him, good.
Teaching a 10-year-old who has never walked well on leash, using red light, green light, we need his attention first.
Good, yes. Yes.
I'm wanting to reward Mark. Eye contact, he's clearly uncomfortable. He's not taking treats. His body language indicates some tension, so I'm going to put it on the floor.
You liked animal crackers.
He'll take it then.
I thought they were like the best. Okay. Yes.
Before training, a little exercise. Burn off some energy.
ABC.
Now I'm getting him to focus on me outside, marking, clicking eye contact, and rewarding. Saying the alphabet to myself gives me a way of slowly increasing the amount of time he gives me eye contact. I make it a little easier, a little harder, a little easier, kind of go up in the ladder.
ABCD. Come here. Yes. He had the potty. We're going to do how you going. Good.
We're in a new area, so I'm clicking eye contact again.
Woods, over here. Come here. Good boy. Easy. Good.
When
Easy.
Woody's giving me eye contact or walking loosely on a leash, then we go forward.
Woods, come here.
I'm rubbing his chest and to help him stay at my side as we move forward.
Good. Good. There,
this kind of training use treats as rewards, but also affection, environmental rewards, getting to go to something they're interested in, like a bush.
Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. And
we have a red light. His leash went tight, so we stop.
Good boy. Good boy. So when he's giving a loose leash, I'll walk with him. Good Woods.
Red light again. He'll figure it out. He'll look back at me, loosen up leash. We start again. Green light, and we're
Good,
off.
Woods. Good. Good.
Made it to the
Good
car.
boy.
Woody learning let's go with his young owner.
Okay, so say, let's go. Let's go. Quick treat. Good job. Get another one ready. Oh, he's got some free ones. That's great. He's a lucky boy. Okay, say, let's go. Take a step. Let's go. Quick treat. Good timing. Excellent timing. Say, let's go. Take a treat. Let's go. Take another step. Say, let's go. Take another step. Quick treat. All right. And just, yeah, good turnaround. All right. Say, let's
You
go.
click to mark the behavior the dog
Quick
did
treat.
successfully.
Behind you.
Delivering
Good
food
timing.
at
Good
or behind your
position.
leg keeps the dog in position.
One more time. Let's go. Click treat. Great timing. Good
Woody's
job.
made it all the way
Let
to
him
his
go.
food bowl, which is his
Okay,
goal.
all right, Woody Woods. Look what you got. Great job. All right, excellent. All the way from there to here.
Here are your steps. Let your dog exercise first. Mark looking at you, giving you their attention. Play connect the dots and red light, green light. Let your dogs learn from success. Read your dog's body language. Are they succeeding, able to focus and take treats? You want them successful 80% of the time. We all know how it feels when we try our best and still don't get it. If they're not succeeding, make it easier. Be flexible. Train for 3 to 5 minutes at a time, say 2 or 3 times a day. Use motivating treats and 100% reward during the learning phase. Be patient with yourself and your dog. Practice these techniques first in a quiet area where you can be successful. If your dog needs a goal to walk to, put a toy out or that they enjoy or an empty food bowl as their goal. Next step, add some small distractions. A no-pull harness might be helpful. It's not necessary to use prong, choke, electric collars, or leash popping or corrections. Progressive reinforcement training is positive but not permissive and establishes strong leadership and effective training with your dog. I hope you enjoy your walks together. Thank you for watching.
That was a very interesting video.
Yes, it was.
You know, Tracy's constantly saying that she's giving up training me. There's just a lot of things in life that I am not going to learn at this point because I'm stubborn. So I wonder if there's any truth to that old saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
A good point.
Well, Mike brought up a good point about what the dog is used to, what they accept as being safe in their environment and before a certain age and so forth. So with puppies up until about age 12 to 16 weeks, that's a period of time in which they're learning what is normal in their environment. And if you think about why that works as an animal, that makes sense, because they would have been under the protection of their moms and with their litter and so forth. And so what's around would be, that's all okay. Anything outside of that experience would be, you know, that's probably better be pretty cautious about that. So it's a challenge to take a dog who has not experienced a variety of things like children or people of different ages or wheelchairs or sounds like vacuum cleaners and all that sort of stuff that's not gotten used to that. They're going to have to be counter-conditioned in a slower process to get them used to that kind of stuff later on, whereas if they had that exposure early and they were confident with it, they're good with that kind of experience for the rest of their life, and unless something really unexpected happens. As far as learning behaviors, new tricks, my dog was 4 when I got him, and he'd been in a shelter for 2 years where he'd been taught nothing, and I don't think he knew much when he went there. Anyway, and he's learned a lot. I mean, in this program, I can ask him to come from a distance, and while he's coming to me, I can ask him to sit, and he'll sit right in the middle of the floor. I can ask him to down, stand, and all that sort of stuff from some distance. But he's a pretty bright dog, and we're sort of with one another a lot.
Now,
You can generally train dogs to do new things, though. I mean, you find out their currency, you find out what they like, You know, are they toy motivated? Are they activity motivated? Are they affection motivated? Are they treat motivated? And you supply that, you know, in a step-by-step approach to teaching them little parts of that behavior. It's just like when you're learning math or something like that, or in a language or something. You have to learn little bits, and someone can throw out all that information to you at once, and even the most motivated of us is going to go, you know what, you just overstep my limits and my brain has shut down. So you keep dogs, even with an older dog, you teach them some little part of that kind of thing. Good dog, you got that. And you think about what's the next small step. If you take that step, if it's a little bit too much, you break it down, keep the dog successful 80% of the time. And you keep training short, and you know, kind of leave them wanting more. So
does it matter on the dog breed?
No, not really. I mean, some dogs are more oriented toward tug play and ball play and that kind of stuff, and some dogs are, you know, not particularly working dogs, or they may not have a high prey drive. So you just go with the animal. It's kind of like. There are probably as many differences within a group of dogs of a certain breed as there are between one breed and another. I mean, there are averages and that kind of stuff. But you take the dog as they are and as an individual. Yeah.
So what kind of trainings do you provide? What we've seen here is mainly obedience trainings.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you do other type of training, such as police training and
I'll do some scent training, which is just fun activity. You know, I'd actually train my dog to scent detect bed bugs, which is not everybody's cup of tea. And I wasn't good enough about training him to be commercial with that, which requires a very high standard. Because if you have a dog that alerts and says there are bed bugs there, the dog needs to have alerted that there are actually live bugs there, not dead bugs or some sort of residue from those bugs and all that sort of stuff. And so you're putting a pest control person in a situation where they have to go back and retreat and all that sort of stuff. So you have to train to an extremely high standard, basically to the same standards that you would train a drug dog to. You know, if you're alerting on someone's car and the police officers are going to tear that car up because the dog just alerted, the dog needs to know what it's talking about. Anyway, but you use the same kind of training. So I'll do scent kind of stuff in a fun sort of way with them. I'll work with reactive dogs that are alarmed and fearful or aggressive, not sort of in a predatory way, but aggressive in a fear-based way toward people coming up to them or other dogs or, you know, cars or whatever that may be, or tricks and so forth. That's fun, you know. And some tricks go into assistance behaviors. If someone, you know, Bo will open the refrigerator. I put a tether on the refrigerator. He can pull it open and all that sort of stuff, and he can push the door closed. For a while I was having him, I didn't have a very great target, but he would push the elevator button, you know. I'd sort of point to it. And so you can get dogs that can push open automatic door opening buttons and stuff like that, so you can get assistance behaviors. What else?
So is this type of training accredited or affiliated with any of your major clubs, like the American Kennel Club Association?
American Kennel Club, well, let's see. As far as, American Kennel Club has an accreditation for a dog that is a canine good citizen. So that's a dog that shows that it can comfortably be around other people, respond to simple requests, and so forth, and is a dog that's adjusted to being out in public, and a dog that can tolerate a certain degree of separation from its owner or handler. So yeah, some of the training will be oriented toward passing that sort of certification or the potential to pass it. There are other things that are organizations that some of it's, you know, scent kind of stuff like barn hunt. You know, you take pet rats and you put them in behind some hay bales in a maze, and the dog goes around and where's the rat, you know? And I mean, the rat's protected. You don't allow the dog to terrorize the rats, but the dog alerts and, you know, yeah, good job. There's a thing for dog dancing. You know, people do choreographed kinds of things with their dogs. Dogs, you know, moving around them and, you know, spinning and kind of stuff in time with music, agility kinds of things, and I taught both some handling kinds of things, so he would stay on this side or that side, and be able to follow a direction as going toward a particular target, whether it's a tunnel or an A-ramp or something like that. That's a specialty, but I mean, I can teach the foundation behaviors that go into the dog following cues and then going on someone else who specializes in teaching those skills. So,
I know that
it was fun.
you have many techniques that help dog owners to teach their dogs, but aren't you also having dog owners change some of their behaviors because sometimes their behaviors may not be conducive to good learning?
Well, okay, yeah, thank you. I'm put my glasses on here. I have a choice between seeing at a distance and seeing up close. But the kinds of, in this sort of training, you're teaching people foundation skills, you're teaching skills for learning. And what dogs are learning as foundation skill, they're learning to give attention to the handler. Like with Woody, I was having him look at me. Well, looking at you eye to eye isn't a normal canine behavior.
Hey, that's a sign of aggression, isn't it?
Yeah, usually, yeah. I mean, there's some dogs that are just really soft little, creatures. I just like to look at you, that kind of stuff. But normally, if you stare at a dog and you keep staring at a dog, the dog is going, you're threatening me. So anyway, but to give attention to the handler, to offer behavior, in other words, to say, hey, look, if this didn't work, how about that? Would you like something else? The dog gets that sort of spontaneity and kind of they start thinking. They respond to a cue. This type of training teaches dogs self-control. They learn to wait. They learn to think for what they want. They learn to give several behaviors in a row before reward. In this kind of training, you start off rewarding 100% of the time in the learning phase, but then you phase that out. You vary your rewards so you don't. It's not click and treat every single time, at all. Then sometimes the reward gets to be, you get your food. You get to go outside, you're walking with me, this, that, and the other, and now we're going to go over to the park and you get to, go take a look at that squirrel. Also, dogs learn targeting, which is a way to move the dog around. They target your hand, they'll target a little stick, they'll target pointing, they'll target going by your side, various ways of orienting their bodies so you can move them around without having to physically push them. Or you can target something out at a distance. So they go out to a cone and circle around it and come back, or if they understand the targets. Anyway, so it's targeting. What the people foundation skills, the people learn physical mechanics with a clicker if they use that. Otherwise, if that's kind of like, patting your head and rubbing your stomach at the same time, then you use yes, or yes is good. People learn to use a high, fast reinforcement. Yes, you've got it. So at the beginning stage, you're reinforcing, you're telling a dog, yes, you've got it 6, 8, 10 times a minute. Because you've broken the skill down into such a basic level that the dog can get it, and you give them, usually in that case, food treat, so they can just swallow it down. You're teaching people how to capture behavior, so dogs do a number of things that they enjoy, or they normally do, like sitting. They'll always sit, they'll lie down. You can capture some of that behavior, or you can shape it. So you catch some little part of a behavior, and then you move it progressively into something more complex. How to cue a dog, how to give a clear instruction, and main thing is observation skills. So in this type of training, you really don't need, it's just not necessary. Leash pops, you don't have to use prong collar, shocker stuff. It's just not part of, and not an essential, or not even a helpful part of this kind of training. So a lot of roads to Rome, and this is one that works very well.
Again, how can people contact you?
I'm in Portsmouth, and my cell phone is 740-357-4206. And at some point, I'll have a website.
It's a 740 357
4206.
4206.
Right.
You can contact us at the studio here at the University of Rio Grande. We'll be glad to pass on Tom's information. I know you've been making some unique videos, training videos, and as you continue your business, etc., we probably will see and hear a lot about you.
I hope it's all good. Thank you. I should say just
Well,
thank you.
I want to thank you, Tom, for coming on. I've learned a number of things before and during the show, so
Okay.
I appreciate
All right.
that.
Okay. All right.
Now, Patrick, we're ending the show today.
Yes.
Next week,
Sheridan Clegg. Sheridan Clegg is going to be joining us. She has some useful tips on being able to maintain a good trash place, both inside and outside, so that way you don't get
you
necessarily.
might emphasize that she is in the refuge business.
Yes, she is. She's with Clegg's Waste Disposal, and Sheridan is always a fun guest to come on. So, Tom, on behalf of you, again, 740-357
4206.
4206.
Positive Experiences Training, PAWSITIVE.
And we've been talking with Tom Heiskell, Dr. Tom Heiskell, I
Right.
guess we should say. I'm Patrick.
And I'm Jason.
And I'm Tom.
Thank you for listening. Have a great week.